You've probably clicked on this video wondering, what if World War III breaks out? Where can I go to stay safe? It's a thought many of us have had, especially with the growing tensions around the world. While most of the world would likely suffer if such a conflict occurred, the truth is, there are places that could be much safer than others. We're going to break it down for you, the 4 safest countries to live in during World War III, and the factors that make them stand out. Food security, energy independence, defense capabilities, geopolitical stability, strategic geography, and robust logistics. These are the keys that could determine whether you're living in the middle of a war zone or sipping a cold drink on a beach in peace. But first, let's get real. The world is closer to war than we think, with conflicts breaking out in Europe, the Middle East, and beyond. Many wonder, what happens if the world descends into full-blown chaos? While there's no way to predict the future, there are countries out there that have a much better chance of staying safe. So what makes a country safe in the event of global conflict? Let's dive into the essential factors that will determine which places are more likely to remain untouched by war. What makes a country safe during World War III? In the world of warfare, location matters more than ever. Countries far from active conflict zones, surrounded by natural barriers like oceans or mountains, are far less likely to be involved. Think about it. If a country is in the thick of the fighting, your chances of survival drop drastically. The same goes for countries that share borders with nuclear-armed nations. Being next door to someone who can launch a nuclear missile doesn't bode well. Proximity to nuclear powers increases the chances of being affected by fallout, both literally and figuratively. So take a look at the countries with nuclear weapons and ask yourself, is my country too close to any of these? If the answer is yes, it might be time to start thinking about your options. A strong military doesn't just look good on paper. It plays a crucial role in keeping a country safe. Countries with advanced air defense systems, powerful navies, and highly trained soldiers are far better equipped to protect their borders and deter aggression. These countries aren't just relying on numbers. They have the technology and infrastructure to make sure their military can act fast when needed. Imagine you're in a war zone. You want the country you're in to be able to mobilize quickly, putting up an effective defense system to shield its population from external threats. The faster and more efficiently a nation can react, the better the chances its people have. When war breaks out, food security becomes a top priority. Countries that can grow their own food or have enough reserves to last through a crisis will fare much better. Fertile land and sustainable agriculture are key. If you can't grow what you need, you'll need to rely on global supply chains that will likely collapse in the event of a war. Being able to maintain a food supply in times of crisis is about more than just survival. It's about avoiding malnutrition and health issues that can arise from a lack of proper nutrition during long wars. Imagine a world where global supply chains are cut off, and you can't get your energy from outside sources. Countries that generate their own energy, whether through renewable sources like wind, solar, or geothermal, are in a much better position to ride out a global conflict. Countries that depend on imports of oil or gas are more vulnerable to external pressures. A nation that can power itself independently is more resilient and less susceptible to external threats. Keeping energy flowing means keeping vital infrastructure running, from hospitals to homes to the military, especially when the rest of the world is in chaos. 5. Logistics. Moving people and supplies efficiently. When war disrupts everything, logistics become the backbone of a country's survival. Think about it. If you can't move food, medical supplies, or people quickly and efficiently, your country won't survive long in a conflict. Nations with robust transportation networks, ports, and distribution systems can keep supplies moving even during the worst of times. The ability to get critical resources where they're needed, whether it's food, water, medicine, or ammunition, can mean the difference between survival and collapse. Countries with advanced logistics will be the most capable of maintaining internal stability, while the world around them falls apart. Chapter 3. The 4 safest countries in the event of World War III. Now that we know what factors contribute to safety during a global conflict, let's take a look at the 4 safest countries that would stand a strong chance of remaining safe during a global war. These countries excel in geographic isolation, energy independence, military preparedness, and food security, making them the best bets for surviving World War III. 1. Fiji, a remote island haven. Why Fiji? Fiji is a tropical island nation located 1,700 miles from Australia in the South Pacific Ocean, and that distance puts it far away from any major global conflict. While not a military powerhouse, Fiji's small military, around 6,000 personnel, makes it unattractive to any aggressor. It has no significant natural resources, so it's not a prime target for invasion. Instead, Fiji boasts fertile lands and an abundance of seafood, which means its population can survive with local resources. Additionally, 300 islands offer plenty of room for relocation if needed. Fiji's strengths: geographic isolation, far from global hotspots, no strategic resources, unlikely to attract invaders, self-sufficiency, fertile lands and abundant seafood. 2. Iceland, the world's safest country. Iceland is often ranked as one of the safest countries in the world, and for good reason. Situated more than 1,000 miles from Europe, Iceland's geographic isolation makes it unlikely to be involved in any major conflicts. 100% energy independence is one of Iceland's key assets. It produces all of its energy from renewable sources, primarily geothermal energy. In addition, Iceland's abundant marine resources and fresh water ensure it could remain self-sufficient in a global war. The country is an ideal haven for those looking for safety during a conflict. Iceland's strengths: geographic isolation, remote from Europe and other conflict zones, energy independence, 100% renewable energy, self-sufficient, marine resources and freshwater abundance. 3. Switzerland, a neutral stronghold. Switzerland's long-standing tradition of neutrality makes it a standout option for safety during a global conflict. Surrounded by France, Germany, Italy, and Austria, Switzerland's neutral stance and geographic advantages make it a formidable safe zone. The Swiss Alps provide natural protection, making it difficult for attackers to invade. Moreover, Switzerland is nuclear prepared, with underground bunkers capable of sheltering the entire population. The country's advanced infrastructure and military readiness further enhance its security. Switzerland's strengths: neutrality, avoids involvement in global conflicts. Geographic protection, Swiss Alps and natural fortresses, nuclear preparedness, bunkers for the entire population. 4. New Zealand, remote and self-sufficient. New Zealand is a remote island nation located 1,000 miles southeast of Australia, far away from most global conflicts. It boasts fertile land, abundant marine resources, and a commitment to self-sufficiency, making it ideal for survival during a global war. New Zealand also generates a significant portion of its energy from renewable sources like hydroelectric power. New Zealand is a safe haven not only because of its isolation, but also because of its high standard of living, neutral foreign policy, and resilient infrastructure. New Zealand's strengths: geographic isolation, far removed from major conflict zones, self-sufficiency, fertile land, marine resources, and renewable energy. Neutral foreign policy, committed to peace and stability. Chapter 4. Conclusion: why these countries stand out. In a world where global conflict seems more inevitable each day, Fiji, Iceland, Switzerland, and New Zealand stand as the safest places to be. While no place can be completely safe from the horrors of war,